Hello, everyone. It is me, your favorite agent, Melissa D. Hall. And y'all know what today is. What is today? You can tell me. It is a great day to sell insurance. That is exactly right. Shout out to everybody out there right now. Shout out to the people on my Facebook page. Shout out to the wonderful people on my Instagram page. I love you. Listen, Instagram's been blowing up. Y'all, did y'all miss me these past 2 weeks? Your girl had to take some time off. And guess what? I might have took some time off from this show, but I did not take time off from working. And if you have been following my social media, you saw that I had a very, very special guest who came. One of my Medicare master students, Annie. Shout out to Annie. If you're watching this, she came all the way down from New York to DC. She spent the day with me. And if you go on my pages, you'll see it there. We had such a great time. She got to see me do some Medicare 101s, right? And she got a taste of real life. Okay. So, and as you come in, please just say hello. So, y'all had my Medicare Master student. She came down to shadow me. That's what you get if you join my Medicare Masters. You get one on one experiences with me so you can see how this business is done. And tell me why she came on the day when all the AT&T cell phones went out. Okay. So, she got a taste of real life. Okay. So, we carried on with the seminar anyway. I had to record some commercials. So she got to go in the studio with me and see how that was done. And it was just an amazing time, you all. So shout out to Annie. Y'all go watch that and show it some love, okay? So today we're going to be talking about motherhood and Medicare. And I have a very, very special guest for us today. I have Miss Moon Thomas, okay? Moon Thomas, for those of you all who do not know who Moon Thomas is, she actually rose to notoriety, I guess, in the insurance industry by being on one of the first contestants on the Ultimate Agent reality show, where agents compete for a cash prize to show who's the best. And that is where we all fell in love with her big, bubbly personality. Okay. From there, Moon, she went ahead and she started her own Medicare agency, and she is a mom. And I felt that having her on here today was important because I don't have children. I want children. One of these days, maybe y'all see them running around. But we all know that having a child, being a mom, and being in business is just an incredible balancing act. So many times, when I speak to people, especially women, and I ask them, why do you want to do this business? It's so that they can have a better life for their children. And I think that Moon is just a very big testament to that. And I always say, children, they can motivate you, right? Or they can also hinder you. They could be the reason why you don't go to work. And I think that Moon has really shown that balance. I remember our first conversation with each other, it was all about how she is a mom, how she wanted to show other moms that it could be done, and all those good things. And guess what? Homegirl is doing it. She's not only just a Medicare agent, she's a business woman, you all. She is making some amazing connections. She's down in near the Atlanta metro area. Okay, and when I talk about major business connections going to the next level in her business, I'm talking about Pinky Slutty Vegan, okay, for all of you all who are out there in those social media streets, okay. She's on the cover of Forbes, all right. And Moon has went and really navigated herself to be in those circles because let me tell you all, I think the number one thing we have to remember is that this Medicare business that we are doing is exactly that. It is a business, and you must make those connections. And that is something that I see her doing, and I just love it. So, anyway, without further ado, you all, I'm going to bring on Miss Moon Thomas. Woo!
Oh my
Hello.
goodness. Hey, Mel, that was a great introduction. Good morning. How are you?
Fantastic, fantastic. It's true. It's all true.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, I was sitting back, I was like, wow, I did all that in like 2 years. That's
Yes.
crazy.
Yes, you have. You've done all that. You have definitely done all that and more and more. So we welcome you, Moon. So listen, that's a nice background you got back there.
Hey, Amazon.
Oh, okay. It's beautiful.
Thank you so much. You know
Yeah.
what? This is like you. I love that you give the flowers because you definitely are not a hater, and you always are, pulling me in on something or calling me on the background. And I appreciate you for being a great support, but also a role model because you've been in this industry a long time too.
Hmm.
And literally, you're doing things that no one else in this industry is doing. So I want to give you your little hand clap this morning because
Girl, thank
it's
you.
important for us to support each other. And this is Women History Month. So we basically making history in another way.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I appreciate that, Moon. I really do. I'm accepting all flowers this year. You just, girl. Nah, give them to me. I want them.
Exactly. Take them. You deserve them. You work
Thank
hard.
Thank you
Mhm.
so much. So listen, like I said, when I first met you, you came off the Ultimate Agent. It was all about starting this whole mommy movement, right?
Yeah.
And so let's talk about that. All right, where are you now? And then we're gonna go back. Okay.
Wow. Now, literally, I am like 100% all in. Like, literally, when I was on the Ultimate Agent, that was like the
Mhm.
turning point for me. But
Yes.
since then, I have not looked back. I'm really, going through the process, learning along the way because it's all a learning process. It's a journey, really, right? And then
Hmm.
on top of that, I'm growing. I feel like this is only going into my third AEP, believe it or not. It's only going to
Wow.
be going into my third AEP. So what I did not know the first year, I definitely learned by trial and error the second year. And then because of that, this year I think is going to be my best year ever.
Okay, and it shall be. It
Yes.
shall be. So let's talk about this, Moon. So you started off in what? Okay, like what did you do before, I guess, becoming an insurance agent?
I worked in the healthcare industry, not in the clinical side, more on the administrative side, and
Okay.
for a major healthcare company. So I believe that I've always been on the health side of the license. So I was not selling insurance at that time in terms of my career, but I always had my life and my health license. As a matter of fact, um, Aflac was my first sales job in terms of selling insurance, and it was door to door with businesses. That's how I actually met my husband in 2010, selling Aflac.
Really? You met him working?
Yes, one of my clients was a barbershop and it was his friend, and basically I don't know how they thought I was going to be a great candidate for their friend. I didn't have any other type of relationship with them except for a business relationship. And
Hmm.
technically I went in there like at the end of the year during the open enrollment time period and was like, anybody needs to be added or taken off or anything you want to make changes for your plan, like say this was December. And he was like, "No, why don't you, have your boyfriend come in here and get his haircut?" And I was like, "I don't have a boyfriend." He was like, "Good, I have somebody I want you to meet." And I was like, and so kind of put me on Front Street, wasn't looking for it. So they say, what, he who finds a wife finds a good thing. I was just minding
Yes.
my business, selling insurance, y'all.
All right now.
So
And did you ended up with a husband?
uh going on 11 years married later
Oh,
and 13, 14, going on 14 years together. Yes, ma'am.
I love that. I love that. So got this man, you got a job, right?
Yes.
When did the baby come? Because you had
Um,
your baby a little later, right?
Yeah, she's 8. She'll be 9 this year. And so
Okay.
I was what you want to call a mature mom. I didn't have her till I was 40. So
Wow. Girl,
yes,
you give me
ma'am.
hope here. You give me hope.
Listen, I'm telling you, it was a whole journey. That's why I feel like everything has to happen the way that it happens for you to get where you are today. Like I literally think back that
Mhm.
based on everything I had to do to get here today, it literally had to happen the way that it did. So I don't think that anything is ever, like a loss. It's always a lesson, in my opinion.
Yes.
And honestly, anything that you had to go through, it probably wouldn't end up this way if you didn't go through it the way that it did. So make a long story short, I had no idea that an insurance license in 2010 would, if I could look today, was gonna get me a husband, get me a baby, get me a business, become a Medicare agent. Now, I did not know any of that, but I was on some path that I had no idea, obviously was set in, for today. So literally,
I
that
love
was like
that.
2010. And I was basically just kind of selling insurance on the side, just learning it. And
So let
then,
me ask you a question. Let me ask
mhm,
you a question. You had your baby at 40.
yes.
So before 40, pre-40, were you like a workaholic type of person?
Um, Yes and no. I think that I was enjoying my life. So at the end of the
Mhm.
day, I'm an army brat. I was used to traveling, I just really was living my life. I don't think that I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm 40, I haven't had a baby yet." I didn't really um you know, focus on that. It's like I feel like at one point I thought I had missed my window. We had
Mhm.
to actually go through 3 rounds of in vitro to have her. So she's my miracle baby.
Okay.
She's definitely my
And
miracle
she's your,
baby.
and she's your twin.
She is. Thank you for saying that because a lot of people say she's just a light skinned version of my husband. So I thank you that.
What? That
Yes,
girl look like
ma'am.
you.
I think so. I always thought that. But she's definitely a mini diva and she could sell you an insurance policy right now. She knows
Oh,
everything about insurance.
I love that. And what's her name, if you don't mind?
Ava Grace.
Ava Grace. I love that. So here you are, 40 years old. You got a baby now. Were you still working for the old, I guess, insurance company as an admin?
So that's the thing. I was initially working at Aflac like in 2010 when I got married and then I went into corporate America. That's when I got connected with the healthcare system. I'm not saying the name because I don't know if I can,
Yeah, we don't have
but
to do.
literally that's where I just learned more about benefits and the back end of, your insurance policy from a healthcare standpoint. So I mean, anyone coming in with concerns or complaints or having issues with their payment, their billing. So that's why I believe that I can really take the time now to work with our seniors and explain what their options are is because I really had that experience. So that job that someone is on that they can't stand, just use it for everything that you can learn so you can make your own way, because
Absolutely.
at the time I was just like, oh, this job, all the things that I didn't like about the job or the policies or whatever. Now, as my own business owner, I can recreate that, but in the way that I want it to go.
I love that. Definitely. So let me ask you a question. When did you, I guess, when did you really realize that work had to change because now you had a kid? When was that realization?
The pandemic, the
Okay,
pandemic,
pandemic.
literally, yeah. So I'll just be honest with you. You know how a lot of people we really have subscribed to the dream, graduate from high school, go to college, get a degree, work in corporate America, and then like get the white picket fence, have a family. That whole idea I think went out the window for a lot of people after the pandemic because one, these jobs were, changing. The company that I worked for, literally, if I really wanted to, that would have been like the last stop. You could have retired from that company like people used to do. That was
Mhm.
like, once you get that type of job, you're like, "Ooh, this is gonna be it." But honestly, I knew I didn't fit in there. I never fit the mold. Now, on the customer service side, I was always getting acknowledgments, awards, and just for being the people person, the upbeat for training, for being a motivator, that kind of stuff. So that's why I know that everything that I learned and everything that I was just preparing me for now because just that sticking to a 9 to 5, being on the little schedule, being very like I just couldn't. It was almost like I was in a box.
Oh, I understand. I definitely understand. It's a lot of people out there. I was looking at something and it was just saying how the 9 to 5 is just outdated for this century because
Hmm.
the 9 to 5 came about when Henry Ford, the auto
Ooh,
manufacturer,
girl.
right? That is what he did it. He instituted the 9 to 5 to be more competitive against other automakers because they weren't
Mhm.
giving employees enough hours. So that's why he created it. And because the other automakers, they really couldn't keep up with having to pay their people that type of labor, that commitment. So that's how it came aboard. And so they were talking about how like the gig economy is kind of just,
Mhm.
giving people more flexibility.
Right.
Um, Yes, yes. So let me ask you, during the pandemic, what happened to be like, you know what, I need a change? Did your daughter, was her school shut down and you had to teach her? Were they making you go into like dangerous territory, like going around a bunch of people? What about it said, I need a change?
All of the above. So
Really?
right before the pandemic, I want to say I even though I may not have been using my insurance license, all the time, I just felt like I needed to renew my license that time. It wasn't like, I'm working and I'm just gonna let it go. I just felt like let me go ahead and renew it. And I'm so glad that I did, because I renewed it like say October 2021. And then in December 2021, that's kind of like when all HE double hockey sticks have broke loose for our household, because my daughter had got COVID, and then I got COVID, and then my
Mm,
husband was sick, and really he never tested positive, but I know he had to have it because he was really like in bad shape. And technically, we're a two person entrepreneur household. We're 100% entrepreneurs over here. We don't have a backup plan.
okay.
My husband has his own business, and I have my own business now. And so this is literally a family business on both sides of the coin. And it just really made me think about the fact that whenever something happens to you, literally your job is going to post your position the next day and keep it moving. But your family cannot live without you. Your family needs you. And so that means they need you healthy. They need you with the best mind frame and basically the best version of you. And I realized during the pandemic, working at that job, it was literally dragging me. I mean, I was stressing my kid out, stressing myself out. We were working short. I literally could not be late. I mean, literally, like if you're a mom there and you live in Atlanta, you got traffic. There's no way you cannot be late to something. And I remember one morning I was dropping Ava off in the carpool line,
Hmm.
and she forgot her book bag. And she literally bust out in like a panic. Oh my gosh, mom, I forgot my book bag. And I'm like, well, I'll just go back and get it. And she's like, no, you can't. You're going to get in trouble if you don't get to work on time.
Oh
And I'm like,
no.
why is she so worried about that? But she literally, I didn't realize it, but every morning I was rushing her off to school to get her to the line real quick so I can, get down the road before a certain time. Like I was literally stressing myself out every day to get there. So in December 2021, she got sick. And of course, with COVID, if your child is sick, nobody can watch them. I didn't test positive initially, but being around her, I started having symptoms later. And literally, I remember calling into work and letting them know I wasn't going to make it because my daughter she tested positive for COVID. And what my manager said to me is like what made me say, you know what, I'm done. She said, well, the policy says if you don't have symptoms, you could still report to work as long as you wear a mask and that you are 6 foot away from someone else. I was thinking to myself, what am I doing? Leave my kid in the car? So I just
Mm.
believe that no woman, nobody, single mom or dad, nobody should um have to make the decision. Do I go to work or do I take care of my kid? Or do I
Yes.
take care of myself, or do I still go to work and then make other people sick? So I decided and you know what I told her? I said, I appreciate you, going over the policy, but I'm I'm just not going to be there. And some people might have not been able to make that decision. So I really felt like I had
So
to
was that
find
it?
my
Did you
way.
quit at that moment?
No, I mean, because literally, I'm glad that I didn't go because I ended up testing positive. So if I would have went, I still would have just been spreading the disease. But I did not. I ended up, even though my husband and my daughter had kind of like got better, I ended up having long-term effects of COVID.
Yes, a lot
It
of
was
people.
it was really bad. So I ended up having to be out on short-term disability, and my doctor didn't release me to go back. And in that time period, I was just thinking, I got to make a change. I really can't go back. I mean, this could be my chance to get out. I'm thinking like I'm escaping, right? And that's when I was, getting these emails from Cody because, he is the master of email blasts. And I was getting these emails about the contest. And I was like, is this a scam? I mean, it seemed like too good to be true. And I was like, what do I have to lose? So I literally put my name in the hat, and who knew? Who knew? Okay. Who knew? And
Wow.
the moral of this whole story is I took a chance on myself. I really rolled the dice, probably against my husband's, his probably at that time he probably was nervous because he was also, an entrepreneur. That's just like, you think you need a job, you know? And
Hmm.
that to me, I just took a chance. And the day that I was supposed to be returning back to work is the day that I was flying into the show for the first day of the contest, and I sent my resignation on the plane.
Wow. That's deep. And never look back.
Never look back. And you know what? I'm glad I didn't, because in my mind, I felt like this. I know that I have transferable skills. I know that I'm a good person. And literally, I'm the kind of person, I put everything on one thing that I love. And if it doesn't work out, I'll just try something else. So,
So,
what was the worst thing that could happen? I try it, it didn't work, and I just go get another job.
all right. No, but you gotta sometimes think like that because you hear so much about people like saving, 3 months emergency funds and all that. Did you kind of do that? Because I have a feeling like Moon, you knew you were gonna quit eventually, So did you like have like, okay, I'm gonna start saving or, something you were doing to prepare to leave?
I'm just gonna be honest with you. I would not advise anybody to do it the way that I did. I mean, it was just an impulsive thing. It was something that I felt like I needed to do. I didn't plan in advance for it. I knew that I wasn't gonna probably be there forever. I
Hmm.
kind of had, a couple of things that happened along the way that just made me be like, yeah, I'm not gonna be able to stay here another 15 years. I was like, this is crazy. I mean, for what? To get what? Full benefits for the rest of my life? I mean, I could just write myself an insurance policy if I need health care. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, what am I doing? You know?
Absolutely. So let me ask you, okay, so now here you go. You go on a show,
Mhm.
right? That's the whole thing. Then you come back, you start in the Medicare, because before then you were doing life. Is that right?
So I basically was doing life and mostly health. So
Okay.
I really never consider myself just a life insurance agent. And I don't say just, because I mean, that's some people, that's their lane. But for
Hmm.
me, because I worked in the healthcare industry, it just was second nature to do health insurance. So under 65 ACA. But the truth in the matter is that I never really considered Medicare, but I did have an ACA client. I had actually two ACA clients that were getting ready to become Medicare eligible.
Hmm.
And technically, one of them said, hey, when I turn 65, are you going to still be able to be my agent? And say like this was, a couple of months in advance. And I was thinking to myself, like, oh gosh, like I never even considered that. And so I said, you know what, right now as it stands today, I'm not licensed to do that, but I will find out. And I promise you, that was during like say ACA open enrollment. And by the time she turned 65, I had already went on the show. I got connected. I got licensed. I mean, certified for it. And she's still one of my Medicare clients and one of my first ones.
I love that. I love that. So let me ask you. So now I know you said your husband, he's an entrepreneur, you're an entrepreneur. How are you able to fit your daughter in more?
I mean, because it truly is a family business. I mean, really, like over the summer, she was helping me with my events.
Okay, so you
Yeah,
put her to
look,
work.
she wanted a Barbie airplane or some kind of Barbie camper or something like that. And it was like, I don't know, 60 some dollars. So, I just said, hey, if you want that, you're gonna have to work for it. And if you can help me, you can make a paycheck and you could buy it. And I swear she was very, serious about getting that Barbie, whatever it was. And she bought it. She literally worked with me on my events that I have for Medicare educationals. And she helped me with setting up my table and passing out like all of the handouts. And she even trained my mom. My mom came and helped me one day, and she was like, my mom was like, what do I need to do? I was like, Ava can help you. And then she was like, a 7-year-old is helping me. I was like, listen, I mean, she knows what to do and she does it very well. That's what I'm
No,
telling you. She's
I
one
know
of
that's
like my biggest supporters.
I love that. So, and let's talk about that because, Moon, I think this could go either two ways because wouldn't you
Mhm.
agree that you work a lot more now than you did in the past when you worked for corporate?
I do, but I can make my schedule around what I have to do.
Mhm.
So in terms of, I try to get most things done while she's at school,
Okay.
and then I put her in the after school program so that I don't have to cut my day off so early. And she's in an after school program that also helps her with her homework. And also she does taekwondo when she's there. So she's being active and she's getting, kind of getting things that she needs to get done. So by the time she gets home, we're not starting from scratch. We're just kind of like going over everything. Um,
Okay.
so I still have my whole day because by the time I pick her up, it's the evening, but she's already done everything she needed to do by the time she gets home. So long as, she just comes home, eat, like I've already cooked or grabbed something, and then, she has a little bit of downtime before she has to get ready for bed. So I mean, it works for us. I guess if you couldn't afford to put her in, your kid in childcare, then you have to be real creative. Maybe work on the weekends more or later at night. But I really don't do telesales. So it depends on the how you're set up. I
Mhm.
am primarily doing events and meeting people out in the community. So that's usually during the daytime. You're working with seniors, not really doing a lot of things at night, you know.
Mhm.
So I'm really partnering with other businesses and places where I'm meeting seniors during the day, and then by the time I get done, I can pick her up in the evening. And what I usually do, and it's probably not probably customary for most people, but I meet I meet 100% of my leads organically. I've not paid for a lead and I don't know when. I meet them at an event. They like me. They've given me their permission to call them. We set an appointment and then we complete everything over the phone.
Okay, very good. So you're out and about in the community, and
Mhm.
then with that said, the fact that you follow up with them over the phone, if she needs, if again, if you have to pick her up, that's fine. You could call a client or whatever like that, right?
Mhm. Yeah,
Well,
and I have been making myself available like on Saturdays, for
yes.
just people who are not available during the week because I'm not really doing too many late nights or a lot of evenings. I think Mondays are my busiest day. I'm usually kind of like, have things all the way to the evenings, and she has some things on Monday also after school. So, I think Mondays is hectic for us. I try to take 99% of the time I take Sundays off. I don't really schedule anything on Sundays if I don't have to. And then Saturdays I make myself available for especially for ACA. I've been doing a lot of ACA lately. So these people may be working or younger than 65. And so not doing too many evenings, but I do, have things that I get sprinkled in. But I try to be more present if I can when she's home because I am on the phone a lot. I am, getting a bunch of calls or trying to be on my email, trying to keep up. So, it's a mixed bag.
I understand. Let me ask you this. Do you have like time just for you and her? Like, no matter what, this is the time for her.
You know what? I try to make time like that for us. I don't think it's realistic to just have that in my schedule. Now, if she was homeschooled, like I really wish that she could be homeschooled. If she could be homeschooled, then I probably think that it would be easier to do that. But it's only, 24 hours in a day. And by the time you do this, that, and the other run around and I still, make it to all of her, her extracurricular activities and these things that she's a part of. So I mean, I guess that's our time, but every now and then we'll make a special mommy. She call it mommy daughter day. Get her nails done or take her to her little special place, or really she be wanting to go shopping. She's her own stylist, so she picks out all her clothes and what she wants to wear. She's very adamant about that.
I love that. I was so I a counselor I know, he said that people get their work ethic from their mothers.
Mm.
Yes,
Mm.
that's what they said. And I mean, looking at it, especially with her helping you in your business and things, would you definitely agree?
You know what? I never thought about that, but yeah, I would agree because I mean, she's getting it on both ends of the spectrum. I mean, her
Yes.
her dad, he's in the trucking business. You know, literally, she's a daddy's girl, and so I could see her driving a truck, or I could see her writing an insurance policy. Either way it goes, if she doesn't want to go work a job in corporate America, she got two options here.
Yes, I love that. I love that. So let me ask you a question. You know, a lot of times we hear mothers talk about mom guilt, right?
Mhm.
Tell me about a time that you've experienced that.
Ooh. I know for a fact I was having that all the time during when I was working in corporate America.
Okay.
Now I can kind of negotiate a little bit more with her, be like, hey, mommy got to take this call, or I got to get on this meeting, give me an hour, and then we'll do this, that, and the other. But I had zero flexibility in my previous work life because you know that job was based on seniority, and even if I worked there six and a half years, I was still the lowest man on the totem pole when it came to like taking time off, because people, like I said, literally retire from that job. So somebody who's already been there 20 years or 15 or whatever, they're going to have more priority than I am. So I used to have to work the weekends, the holidays, the shift that I didn't want to work, and it never worked for me. I just had to make it work with my I guess you wouldn't say like my support. My mom and my sister helped out a lot in
Hmm.
terms of like helping me juggle with that schedule. And now I just feel like, I mean, because you definitely need your village. You have to have a village, especially if you have kids. I don't care if you're married or not, because you know, sometimes it's like you can't be in two places at once. So that mommy guilt is real, especially when you want to be off or you have special occasions that are coming up and you can't. And that's where you have to have your village so somebody can fill in for you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Wow. Yeah, I could definitely see, you wanting to go ahead and be at her dance recital or be at the school program graduation or whatnot, and then you can't go. Like, I
Mhm.
never got that. And like, luckily my mom, she pretty much had a flexible job where she was able to
Mhm.
make those things
Right.
because it means everything to a kid when you see your parents, somebody there for you out in
Yeah.
the crowd cheering you on, you know?
Yeah.
For sure, for sure. So
Well,
that's a mhm.
I think that's good too. I mean, the younger they are, the easier it may be to incorporate that, because like she's only in second grade. So, I was working in corporate America, preschool, kindergarten, and part of her first grade, you know.
Okay, that's beautiful. So it's been 3 years now.
It will be 3 years this year. Yes, ma'am. It's literally been, this is my second, like this is like my second year. Going in April would be 2 years that I've been 100% entrepreneur.
Okay, that's wonderful. I know at one point, you talked about helping other women in the industry who might be moms, right?
Yeah.
Just kind of being a beacon for them. Do you have any advice for anyone who's out there who is a mom? Maybe they're a single mom, right? And they
Mhm.
want to do this business, but they have kids and they don't know how they're going to find the time because I hear that a lot. Do you have any advice for them?
Yeah, I think your village is important. I know there, even if there's someone who is a single parent, that that other friend that might be a single parent, you guys can help kind of tag team with each other, or have small kids, y'all can kind of do things in groups. Or if you have sisters and moms, I'm telling you, they are the the staple in making your plan come together. And I mean, I feel fortunate that I was able to, kind of just jump in without a plan. But I would say, if you know for a fact, like, start doing things around your schedule if you can't just walk away from the job. I mean, I say use your full-time job or your main hustle to become your main thing later, if you can, like, use that to fund what you're trying to do, if you can, find a way to maneuver your schedule. And also, if for some reason you just can't, do both, I say just stick to the weekends. There's a lot of time on the weekends. I'm not gonna say waste. I don't really watch TV anymore. But just imagine if you just cut out like some of the shows or some of the hanging out. Like, my friends will tell you, like, if it don't make money, it don't make sense. I'm not going. I'm not really hanging out. I'm not watching a bunch of TV. I'm not, you know, doing things. I like being home when I can be home. So it's probably going to take a mind shift set, like for you to like really prioritize what you really want, because you know people say what they want, but then you got to execute, right? So you might
Absolutely.
say you want to be a business owner, you may want to work from home, but you got to one figure out what you're passionate about. Like I knew that I loved people and I liked what the insurance industry could do, but when I realized that Medicare was my lane, like you have to jump like completely into and absorb everything about that and become an expert in your field, become a community partner, become a leader. So it takes time. You're gonna have to learn a lot in that process.
Absolutely. And before I let you go, one thing came to my mind, a word, legacy,
Mm.
right? Yes, legacy. Let's talk about legacy and what this business means as far as the legacy for your daughter.
You know, I'm glad you said that because this generation, I think, is they, like you said, have a different work ethic, a different mindset when it comes to working. So I want her to follow her passion. I don't want you to just check a box because that's what your parents said you need to do. I mean, literally right now, if she says she wants to be a fashion designer, is what she says, I want to be a fashion designer. I want to, you know, I'm interested in art and being creative. I never say, no, that's not gonna work. So you know what we do? We go out and let's go find what you want to make. She wanted a sewing machine. So she got a sewing machine. She make doll clothes for her dolls. So I think the legacy is really um, pouring into your kids and figuring out what they're passionate about and encouraging it, like cultivate that from them being small, and then see, you know, how that leads them in their path. Because at the end of the day, we're creating a space so that they can find their passion, right? We're encouraging being unique. We're encouraging, you know, walk into your own path, and we're trying to, you know, create a financial stability for when she gets older, that she may not have to do some of the things that we had to do to figure it out. That's the one thing about having some entrepreneurial parents. We're giving you a blueprint on how to be your own business. Doesn't have to
Mm,
be businesses that we're in. It'd be great if you could, but I think the legacy is finding out and pouring into your kids early what they're great at, and then helping them to become that.
I love that. I love that. And also, not let's not forget, you can also will these residuals down to your kids too.
Yes.
So,
That was another, you know, attractive thing about being in the insurance world. The residuals, the like you said, willing it, and actually maybe even her following in my footsteps in terms of taking over later. But like I said, I don't want to force that on her, but she knows how to do it. So trust and believe. She's out there, like we're somewhere, she'll be like, Mom, does she look like she could get Medicare? I'm like, please don't be, you know, like labeling people, you know what I'm saying? But she's
your kids be your biggest fans. It was one girl I know. She's like she came back and her daughter was like in kindergarten. Everybody had a business card.
yes, I'm telling you, she wore the 8% lanyard to school for show and tell one day, and
Yes.
she was just like, "Yeah, my mom went on a private jet to with my uncle Cody," and I was like, "Who does that?" You know what I'm saying? But this is her vantage point now.
Oh wow. Private jet at 8 years old. They know about that. She
Yeah,
lived
I
an
mean,
imitative life.
it's a different, and you know what, I'm proud that she is latching on. So you know, when I'm sitting here and I'm doing my vision board, she's doing her vision board. When, you know, I came up with a word for this year, my word is big, and I
Hmm.
just we every time we're doing something, she'll be like, Mom, we're going big, right? We're gonna be big. We're doing
Okay.
this big. So I mean, like what you say and what you do. I mean, they are literally listening, watching, and
Yes,
they're really idolizing you in a certain way. So you got to really be careful what you speak to your children.
I received that. I received that.
Mhm.
Well, on that note, Moon, it has been a pleasure.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate you, Mel.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming on and thank you for giving us this perspective of being a mom and being in business, being in the Medicare business. I couldn't give this perspective, and I think it's so
Mm,
important for everybody watching. So who better? Because like I said, I remember our first conversation. You were on fire to help moms, and I know that when you become a mom, if I'm lucky to become a mom, it's a whole community, it's a whole life change, and I do believe moms can be successful in whatever they want because you all
yeah,
are multitaskers, right? The
yeah.
ultimate project manager. So I thought it was very important. So you can come here and encourage some people. So whoever's watching this, I hope you're encouraged. No matter if you're a mom of one or plenty, you can
Right.
do this business. And make sure you go ahead and you sign up for my Medicare Masters. Okay, it is my academy. Listen, I got tons of things to help you write your first 100 applications. All you have to do is go to melissadhall.com/resources. Hope to see you in there. We have a welcome call every Friday. It's a beautiful community. And, also, where can people check you out, Moon?
Well, all of my social media is at Moon Thomas. I do have just a business page for Facebook, Thomas Family Agency, really just so I can share there. But most people are following me under my personal page, on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and I'm going to be creating some information, an informational channel on YouTube because I know people go to YouTube for information, and I'm going to be sharing my experience about the partnerships and just the different things I'm doing in the community there because I believe that's just probably where the most impact will be. But for right now, most of my followers are on Facebook.
Fantastic. So you can find Moon Thomas on Facebook, and that is her real name, you all. So she's there. Rita Stewart, she said, excellent segment. Thank you so much,
Oh,
Rita.
thanks, Rita.
Yeah,
I
we
appreciate
appreciate
you.
it. Yes, yes, definitely something different for y'all. Listen, if y'all have any other segment ideas, I want to hear about them. Please feel free to share them with me. And as always, Moon, don't disappoint me. What day is it?
It's a great day to sell insurance.
I know that's right. See, that's what I'm talking about. This a good girl. This is somebody who watched the show. It is. It is a great
Exactly.
day to sell insurance, you all. Bye, and we are signing off.
Thank you.